Everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Now, apologies if you hear a little bit of weird noises going on. It's very busy outside today for some reason. We live kind of quite near a main road, and I have to have the window open because it is pretty warm today, so I couldn't have it closed because I wouldn't be able to breathe properly. But I wanted to come on here today and chat to you about something that I've been meaning to do for ages, and that is beauty products, or more specifically makeup products that I think are definitely worth the splurge. So worth the money, slightly higher end things or just slightly more expensive things that are definitely worth spending that little bit of extra cash on. And some of these are not things necessarily that are talked about very often, and I just think really are a cut above the rest. I do love drugstore makeup a lot. I think if I had to choose to only ever use one variety, it probably would be to use drugstore makeup forever. I love buying drugstore makeup, but there are products that perform so well and are worth spending that little bit of extra cash on them. They're being so noisy outside, like, it's just so inconsiderate. Let's start with eyeshadows. Eyeshadows are definitely something that I think it is worth spending a little bit more money. I don't tend to think that most drugstore eyeshadows are that great in terms of the blendability, in terms of the wearing time, and in terms of kind of the intensity of colour. I know that there are a lot of brands like Makeup Revolution and stuff that do dupes, shall we say, for very popular palettes, but I still don't think the quality is just as good. So this will become of no surprise to you because I cannot stop talking about how much I love this and I cannot stop wearing it. But this is my Urban Decay Naked Heat palette, which looks a little bit like this. The actual palette is so beautiful. I even like the kind of pattern of the roses that it comes with here. And then the palette itself looks like that. And the shades inside are just so gorgeous. I can't get enough of them. They're really warm shades. Right now, for example, I'm wearing the shade Sourced all over my lid. It's this one right here. I'm wearing it just all over my lid. It's a nice kind of warm wash of colour. And I remember when the first Naked palette came out, I got loads of use out of it. I loved it. I still have it. Then I bought Naked 2 and I sold it because I didn't get much use out of it. I didn't even bother with Naked 3. I love the all the Naked Basics palettes, but they're a bit samey. I hadn't been as excited about a palette as I had about this, and I saw a girl in, I think it was like in Debenhams maybe, and she was wearing a really beautiful eyeshadow colour, and I stopped her and I asked her what she had on her eyes because she had similar colouring to me and it looked really lovely, and she said it was this palette, and I was like, I think I need this. So I did ask for it for Christmas, and very luckily my boyfriend got me it for Christmas, and I just think it is worth the money. I want to say that it's like £39 now. I'm going to link the prices of everything down below because obviously I can't remember the exact price of every product, but I'm going to definitely link them down below. And they're just such beautiful quality. They blend beautifully. The texture is lovely. I just love them. Equally, my favourite eyeshadows are MAC eyeshadows. I know nobody really speaks about them anymore. They're not really a thing anymore, and I don't understand why, because they're just such beautiful eyeshadows. I do think MAC matte eyeshadows are not as nice as Urban Decay, but that's neither here nor there. And I do think that Urban Decay shadows have a little bit more fallout than MAC shadows, but generally speaking they're as good. This is my little MAC quad, which if I remember the shades that are in here, so Sable, that one I want to say is Antiqued, that one is Patina, and that one is Sober, I think. But I've got a bigger palette that I do put stuff in most of the time, but this is just the kind of one I've got at the moment. And I love their eyeshadows. I just think they're beautiful to work with, very easy to blend. The colours are beautiful. There's some just really iconic colours that work beautifully on everyone, like MAC Sable, for example, is such a beautiful colour, and definitely something that I think is worth spending a little bit more money on. And I don't think they're that expensive either. I think they're kind of reasonable priced. Then I've got another palette, but it's not an eye palette necessarily. This is the Urban Decay. This video isn't sponsored by Urban Decay. I would love if Urban Decay did want to sponsor me because I love them. But they do send me things occasionally. And this is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Shapeshifter palette. Now, the packaging of this is sort of bulky and it kind of looks a bit random, but this is such a good palette because in here, this bronzer shade is lovely, But this contour shade is the most beautiful contour shade I've ever used. Like, I literally want to just buy it just for that. It's so, so perfect. It's the perfect kind of grey tone without being too much, without being too warm, without being too grey. It's perfect. The highlight shades are lovely as well. The texture's really lovely. And then on the other side, you have the cream section, which I haven't played with tons. I've used a highlighter. I need to have a little bit of a play with the contour shade. It's not as dark as that, obviously, once you blend it out. But I just think it's a really, really great palette. And if you're into contouring, this is pretty much all you're going to need. You can do 2 different things. It's fairly compact. It's really good. So that's that. Let's do, I've got a couple of bronzers here that I think are definitely products that I have used a lot, and some of them I've even repurchased. This is just an example, but the Clarins Summer Edition bronzers. I've got 3 different ones. I always end up getting sent them every year, and I just use them to death. This one is particularly great. This one is the bronzing compact, and it's obviously limited edition. The packaging is gorgeous. It's got flamingos on it, and inside the bronzer itself is so, so pretty. It's got flamingos embossed there, and so you've got a warmer shade, a cooler shade, and a highlight. I've been swirling them all together, and it just is such a beautiful bronzer. The texture of these bronzers are always great. I think the tones of them are particularly good, and they're just a great all-round bronzer. I really like how big they are, because I feel like you can get a big bronzer brush in there and you don't have to kind of worry about kind of getting in there and things like that. And it's just a really, really great product. Cannot recommend it enough, and I always love using these, and I use them all the time, and it is something that I have bought with my own money before as well. So next bronzer I've got that I think is definitely worth the money is Hoola, and I think bronzers are another area where there are some nice ones from the drugstore. Like today, for example, I've got an H&M one on that I really, really like. Sorry, my hair's like all getting thingied together, and I'm not into that, no. Yeah, I'm wearing a one from H&M. I don't know how well you can see because the window's kind of washing me out a little bit, but it's a really pretty kind of warm toned one. But this one is just such a beautiful bronzer. I've actually hit pan on it, which never ever happens. Look how noisy they are actually being. Like, do you have to do that right outside my window? Literally, they're here, just outside my window. You can probably hear me, I don't actually care. But yeah, I've hit pan on it. It's great if you have a kind of medium skin tone. I wouldn't say this is particularly great if you do have a darker skin tone. I think it might not show up as well, but beautiful, beautiful bronzer. The texture's lovely. You can use it as an eyeshadow. It looks really nice as an eyeshadow, and I think it's like £22 now. The only thing I wish was they would change the sodding packaging. I know it's Benefits thing, but I absolutely hate it. It's cardboard. I don't want to pay that kind of money for cardboard, and it's annoying the amount of product that you get because you can't really fit a big bronzer brush in it. It's annoying. You can use this as a contour shade as well, so it's a good holiday kind of colour, but I don't like packaging. Then I've got a blusher, and blusher is a weird thing. I looked at my whole collection and I was like, there must be a blusher that is higher end that stands out, and I like MAC blushes, but I think they're quite sheer. And I was trying to think, and then I looked at these and I was like, of course, the Clinique Pop blushers. These blushers are the blushes ever. Every time I wear it, I always end up getting compliments on. I've got about 4 different colours of them, and they're just so, so pretty. The texture is beautiful. They last a long time on the skin. The pigment is just right. You don't want too much pigment with a blusher, but too little, and you end up having to build it, and it's a bit annoying. These are just perfect. I love these blushes so much. This one is in the shade Peach Pop, which looks like that. It's actually what I'm wearing on my cheeks today, and I love them. I just think the pigment level on them is perfect, and I think the packaging is really sweet and cute as well, so I definitely think those are worth spending a little bit of extra cash if you are on the market for any blusher and you want to spend a little bit more. Then let's do kind of base products. So I've got a primer here, and I've used lots of different dupes for this. I know e.l.f. do one that people say is very similar. The Maybelline Baby Skin is very nice. But this is the Benefits, the Professional, and I suffer from really, really big pores. They're like craters. They're so horrible. It makes my makeup always look crap, and it's just something that I'm really conscious about, and I don't like how it looks at all. This is the only thing that helps them. I've used so many different kinds of things to try and kind of disguise them, but this is just the best. It's the only thing that really helps to mask the appearance of them, so I can't recommend this enough. It is expensive, but it does last for a very long time, and I don't think there is a drugstore dupe for it, unfortunately. I'd love it if there was, but there isn't. Then another base product that I have discovered fairly recently, but I do think is amazing, is the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Cream. Everyone loves this. I'm no exception. I can't use it at the moment because it's so warm, it just does not stay on my skin. I think this is definitely something that I will be able to use more in the winter months. It's very kind of moist, sorry, and on my skin it just kind of, it's too much, it feels a bit greasy, but in the winter I couldn't stop using it and I loved it. And I had a little sample and then they very kindly sent me the full size, so I can't wait to start using this again because it is a beautiful product. It gives you that kind of like lit from within, healthy skin, your skin but better. It is what it says. Like, it's the type of thing that every time I wear I always get compliments on my skin for it, and who doesn't want that? So I love it. I've got it in the shade medium, by the way, in case anyone was wondering. Then concealer. This concealer is by far the best concealer I've ever used, and I wish I didn't like it as much as I did because it's expensive, but I do, and that is the Urban Decay Naked Concealer. Can you tell that I'm a big fan of Urban Decay? They didn't actually send me this, I actually bought this, and I've got it in the shade medium light warm. The shade of it is perfect for me. It doesn't crease, it gives beautiful coverage, the texture's lovely, it's easy to blend, it's perfection. It comes with a nice doe foot applicator, nice and flat and large, and it's just brilliant. It's what I've got under my eyes today. I love it, I can't say a bad word about it. I think it's about £19 maybe, but you can usually get it on some sort of promotion on like Feel Unique and that kind of thing, but it's just so good. So I love that. Then should we do lipsticks? I have got 3 lip products here that I think are very expensive but are worth the money. The first one, I didn't buy this. I did some work with Debenhams and they gave me some vouchers. It was over the Christmas period and they told me to pick something with those vouchers, and I picked this lipstick. And I picked it because I was never going to spend that kind of money on a lipstick because I think they're about 36 quid. And the lipstick I'm talking about is a Tom Ford lipstick. Now this isn't even the full size Tom Ford lipsticks, okay? But they have the beautiful like, Tom Ford logo. They are just so stunningly gorgeous. Like, I want to have that out and just look at it. It's so beautiful. This is the shade James and the colour is beautiful. It's such a like pretty warm peachy nude, but I did think there is no way that that is worth the money. I'm going to buy it because it's a voucher, it's not real money, whatever. And I used it recently and I was blown away by how beautiful the texture was. It's creamy but not shiny. The pigment is really intense. It doesn't dry out on your lips. I have very dry lips all the time no matter what I do, and I always tend to find that lipstick kind of gathers in the inside of my lips, which isn't very attractive. This didn't do that. It stayed put for ages without getting dry. It was just so beautiful. So now I want more of these, and I am going to buy some other colours when I'm feeling a bit spendy, because I just think it was just such a lovely texture. I mean, £36 is insane, but it's gorgeous. So yeah, I needed to give that a mention. Another thing that I think is worth the money, and they're not crazy expensive to be honest, is MAC lipsticks. Today I'm wearing the shade Ravishing, which is a cream sheen. I love the texture of cream sheens. I love that they're a bit glossy. I think it looks really pretty. It's a nice peachy kind of colour. But I think MAC lipsticks are by far the best lipsticks on the market, really. They're mid-range. Now they've also launched their mini lipsticks, which I think is a really good idea, because like, when do you ever finish up a lipstick? That's not something that really tends to happen, is it? And they have launched the miniature size ones that are £10, which is really reasonable, and the colours they just do are beautiful. I mean, I love Fanfare's one of my favourites. I love not Velvet Teddy, what's it called? Not Faux. Twig's a beautiful colour in the autumn winter. There's just so many colours that I love, and you can always find a colour that you want because the shade range is so beautiful, and I think the textures of them are great as well. So I definitely think they are something that is worth the splurge. Then another lip product I've got here that I think is worth the money are the Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipsticks. This is in the shade Dusty Rose. They are worth the money. I think they're about £16. It's not crazy expensive, but you know, and they are just so lovely, and they stay put, they're not drying. I've got 2 different shades, they're both equally beautiful. The pigment is great, they are just such a pleasure to use. Love them, cannot get enough of how good they are, so I really recommend these. And then last but not least in terms of makeup, I've got a mascara to recommend for you. Now I've actually got two, but one of them I don't have with me. A mascara that is worth the money in my opinion is the MAC 3D Extra Dimension mascara. That is a beautiful mascara, I love that, I wear that all the time, but I've run out. What I have been using recently is the Cosmetics Superhero Mascara, which I think is possibly even a little bit better than the MAC one. This is what I've got on my eyelashes today. Hopefully you can see. They look so much longer than they normally look because I've got really crappy eyelashes, and I love this mascara. It stays put, it doesn't smudge, it gives you false looking eyelashes straight off the bat. It's not one of those that you need to kind of let it dry out a bit or anything. It's so nice. I cannot recommend it enough. And I think it's about £19 as well, but like I said, I'll put all the info down below for you. And then last but not least, in terms of not necessarily makeup, I thought it kind of went hand in hand for nail polishes. I really like some of the cheaper nail polishes, like the Barry M ones. I think the Maybelline ones are nice, but none of them are as nice as Essie nail polishes. They are the best nail polishes. Best formula, best colours, best colour names, best like textures, best shade range, best brush. The consistency is perfect. I love them to death. And this shade is actually what I've got on right now, so I thought I would show you. This is Aruba Blue, which I've actually had on since Wednesday, and today is Sunday. So it stayed pretty much perfect. I topped it up with a bit of like clear polish last night, but stayed looking perfect. And I love this colour. I've got it on my toes and it's so beautiful. And they just, you can't beat them. They're $7.99, so they're not crazy expensive, but they are expensive for a nail polish, aren't they? But they're just my favourite. So yeah, that is everything. I'm sorry, this is a really long video. I'm going to go now because I've waffled on for ages, but I wanted to just give you a very extensive overview of things that I think are worth spending a little bit of extra cash if you're feeling spendy. If you're not feeling spendy, don't. As simple as that. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Bye!